Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today's video, in case, as you can tell from the title, is my Women's Prize non-fiction shortlist predictions. So in case you guys don't know, in February the lovely Women's Prize for the very first time put out a long list of 16 books for non-fiction. Normally every year they have a fiction prize, but this year running alongside it is a non-fiction prize, which is very, very exciting. The shortlist is being announced on Wednesday at 6 p.m. GMT, so I'll link that in the description. Also, myself, Jem and Alice, whose channels I will link in the description, are going to be doing a reaction to that at 8 p.m. on Alice's channel, Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. So go over to there for our Plodalong, read along. You can come along and join us for our live show and just chat all about our reactions to that. What I will do though now is I will dive into the long list, etc., and which ones I've read, etc. So I've read from this long list, which by the way I just think is such a great long list. I'm putting that out there. I just think it's such an exciting long list with such a great variety of books. I've read 4 books and I'm halfway through, or just over halfway through, another one, and I've also got one that I've kind of started a little bit, so I will go through those books. So the first book I read from the long list is How to Say Babylon by Safia Sinclair, and I just loved that. That was like a 5-star book. I just think that's just such a phenomenal book. It's a memoir about her life, what it's like growing up in a Rastafarian family, and it's sort of about her relationship with her father and her family, and some of the traumatic things that she's gone through. Safia is a poet as well, so it's just beautifully written as well as, and it also has talks about the history of some of the Rastafari movement and stuff as well. Yeah, it's just a really, really gorgeous book. So that's what I read. That was the first book I read and it was like a knockout. Then the next one I read was A Flat Place by Noreen Masood, another brilliant memoir, and it also took that book also, so that's sort of more, it talks about Noreen's mental health, but also her love of flat places, flat landscapes. She grew up in Pakistan and then also came over to the UK, so it's sort of how that the love of those places, those flat landscapes sort of grew over time, and it sort of talks about all of that. I really did enjoy that. That was just an amazing book as well. The third book from the long list that I read is Intervals by Marianne Brooker, and this is about a sort of another memoir. I love memoirs, as you can see. They're the ones I immediately obviously were drawn to, and this is about her caring for her mother, as she was obviously dealing with her health issues with multiple sclerosis, and her mother took the decision to end her life via sort of stopping eating and stopping drinking, etc., which is obviously very horrific. And it sort of talks about that decision and the process of that, the process of taking care of her mother, the love of her mother. Yeah, it was really, really gorgeous. I can see it could be a very triggering matter. It's my favourite from the, I'm going to spoilers. Intervals is my favourite from the books, the 4 books that I've read so far. It really, really touched me emotionally. It made me cry. It was just gorgeous. So yeah, I loved it a lot. And the writing was really gorgeous. Marianne's writing was really gorgeous. And it had loads of, it was informative in the topics that it discussed, but it was also, yeah, like I said, tugged at my heart. So it was sort of, yeah, had lots of things that I think lots of people can connect to. So yeah, then it talks about grief obviously as well. So yeah, so that's the third one. Then the fourth book that I've read from the long list is Thunderclap by Laura Cummings. I read this last week. So this is about, Laura Cummings is a journalist, I think, yes. So this book talks about Laura Cummings' love of Dutch art, and specifically her love of Fabricius. I think that Carol Fabricius, who is the famous painter of the Goldfinch painting, I believe. And yeah, so it sort of it goes through her love of that, and it also talks about it, again, is another relationship with her father, like her father, not relationship with her father, but like she lost her father as well, and it sort of obviously talks a little bit about that as well. But this is just a really, really gorgeous book. Again, it's very, very digestible, and the actual physical book is just beautiful. So yeah, I recommend getting the actual physical copy, even though I feel like the way she's written it, I don't think you necessarily would need the physical copy, but I think it just adds, because I've heard the audiobook is very good as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this as well. So this was a really, really good, strong book. And this was one that at the beginning of the when the long list got announced, loads of people were reading initially, and it was getting a lot of buzz. So yeah, I can see why, having read it. And then the book that I'm just about halfway through, just over halfway through, is Matrescence by Lucy Jones, and this is talking about motherhood. It's talking about, I feel like it's memoir first, and then it's also goes into like scientific details surrounding motherhood. Like it also like has like nature, like interspersed nature bits to do with like how like motherhood through the lens of nature, and then also science and stuff. It's yeah, in a really, really super digestible, accessible way. But yeah, if you're thinking, if you're looking at Matrescence, what I would say is it's more the memoir than it is the science, I would say. But it does, so yeah, that's what I'd probably say. But I am really enjoying it so far. Everything I've read, I've loved it so far as well. My husband last week treated me to Shadows at Noon by Joya Chatterjee. So this is what it says on the tin. It is Joya has written a book about the history of South Asia, and it's very extensive, and I have only just like started it. I've read the introduction and maybe like a few more pages other than that, but the introduction was really, really gorgeous, and it has made me super interested. So yeah, this is a book that I'm going to be taking my time over, yeah, and dipping in and out of. So yeah, but I'm super excited to own it. So those are the books I have. So now I'm going to get on to my wish list. That's the 6 books that I really want to see on the shortlist. And spoilers, a lot of them are the ones that I've read because they're the ones that I was drawn to. So the first book I'm going to put on here, would be no surprise, is Intervals by Marianne Brooker. Obviously that's my favourite that I've read. I loved it so much. I'm not entirely sure whether it will get shortlisted, but it stands as good a chance as any of the list. So yeah, that is my first one. The second one I've put on here is obviously How to Say Babylon, because again, it was an amazing book. It was a 5-star read. Equally, I just loved it. So, and I feel like those 2 books will be on my favourites of the year, FYI, because they're just that great. Then Thunderclap. I just feel like this book, it does so much. It does so much within its short pages, but it's also accessible, and the way it's written, I feel like I felt like I understood a lot of it, and it gave me it sparked my interest, and it made me go down Googling tunnels, which I just love. So yeah, I for sure want to see this. And it's also, this one has been, I think it won an award last week, or it was listed for one of the prizes. I'll put it on screen. So yeah, so I can see this book going far. So yeah, that one I really want to see. I obviously want to see, I'm going to put Shadows at Noon, just because this was the book, when I saw the long list in general, this was probably the first book I was like, oh, I really want to read this. Because it's just such a great, interesting subject matter. And yeah, so shall I read you a quote from the back? It says, this is history at its best, an invitation to enter worlds within worlds, the company of a master storyteller. So like that alone, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I really want to see this book listed on the shortlist. I just want more people to read it, and I feel like because it's quite big, I think it might intimidate potentially a lot of people and put a lot of people off of reading it. But yeah, I like big books, so that doesn't bother me. So yeah, and then the other 2 books that I'm going to put on my wish list, I really am torn. So I'm going to put one that I would have never have thought I would have been interested in reading, and that is Code Dependent by Madhumita Murja, and this is a book about AI, I believe, and which is like a subject matter that sort of like gives me the ick a little bit, being honest. But I have seen people reading it and giving like good feedback on it, and particularly I watched a video last night by Louise Savage Muses, and she was she was saying that she had a similar response when she first saw the book listed, but then she read it and just thought it was brilliant. So yeah, that sort of given me pause for thought, and it just like something about it is intriguing me. So I feel like it will get listed as well. So it's one I really want to read. Yeah, so I'm going to put that on there as well. And then I'm torn between two for my 6th spot. Because obviously there are books that I've read / reading. Now, I'm going to put Wifedom. For my wish list, I'm going to put Wifedom on here. This is by Anna Funda. My lovely friend Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf did a solo review of this book. She read it and loved it, and she had an emotional response to this book. It's about Anna Funda loves George Orwell, and she has written about George Orwell's wife Irene. So Wifedom is about that, I believe. And yeah, and I read Julia at the beginning of the year. I have read some Orwell books before as well, and it's just like, I just love the idea of like finding out about his wife and finding out a story that's a sort of a story untold. So yeah, I feel like that would be on my wish list for the 6th. So yeah, and then now, so those are my wish list for the 6th. We shall see if I get any of them right. And now I'm going to go on to my predictions. I've got 3 that are the same as my wish list. So I definitely think How to Save Babylon will be on there. It's had so much praise, like worldwide, and I just feel like it's just a great memoir. And I feel like, yeah, so that's, I feel like, will be listed for this is my prediction. Then Thunderclap, again, it's got history of being listed, of doing well in prizes, so I feel like that will do well. And Code Dependent, again, this is a subject matter that isn't really talked about a load, but I feel like if it has been done well, which given what I've heard it has, I feel like, yeah, it will earn its spot on the prize, on the shortlist. So yeah, those are the 3 that I feel like kind of more sure about. Then, who am I going to give the other 3 spots to? The other 3 spots I'm going to say Matrescence, because I feel like it's a women's prize. Matrescence, like, in itself, like, the discussion topic is just such a women's prizey thing, and I feel like this would be one that would, again, might appeal to the judges, in the way it's talking about like motherhood in a different like way. So yeah, I feel like that could be listed. The 5th book I'm going to put is my prediction is Eve by Kat Bohannon. I don't really know a lot about it. I know it's quite, like, initially, like when I saw it, it's kind of looks quite sciencey, but I feel like something about it, having not read it, I feel like it would appeal to the judges, because obviously it's quite factual. That's just one I'm going to put on here. This is my gut. I feel like it could be listed. And then one that's partly like prediction, partly wish list, because this is one I really want to get to. Young Queens by Leah Redmond Chang. Obviously, and I know one of the judges is, I think the head judge is actually like she's a historian. So yeah, I feel like she'll be backing this one. So that's like my reasoning behind that. But yeah, I also really want to read that one, as I do want to do the whole long list. Like I said, give or take 1 or 2 books. But yeah, so that's basically that's my predictions / wish list. Let me know which books you've been reading. Let me know your thoughts on the long list as a whole. Let me know which books you want to get to next. I think after Matrescence, yeah, I think I'm gonna head to Wifedom. I think I'm gonna head to Wifedom because I'm just so excited for it. Alice is maybe so excited for it. So yeah, and that's that. So yeah, I hope lots of you can come and join us for the Plodalong reaction for the long list. I'll put links in the description. And yeah, it's yeah, I hope you guys are well, and I've missed you guys, chatting to you guys. I will be back soon with hopefully more regular scheduled content. But yeah, take care and sending you lots of love.